Hello, and welcome to the first in a series of virtual interviews with some of our key advertising partners from across the media landscape. My name is Nick Beckingham, Associate Director, and in our first episode, I speak to Gareth Maguire, Agency Partner Manager at Facebook. In our interview, we address the latest talking points affecting the online advertising landscape and explore what the future has in store for brands and agencies alike as we head into 2021. So Gareth, first of all, hello, and would you mind telling us a bit about your role at Facebook and your involvement with Space and Time?
Hey Nick, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I'm Gareth Maguire. I'm an agency partner here in Facebook. And what that means is that I work primarily with agencies and their clients to devise initiatives and programs to drive growth across the family of apps. I guess you could say that I help ensure clients are maximizing their investment with us to get the best results. I've been here for just over 3.5 years, and yeah, worked with you guys for a year and a half of that.
Yeah, and obviously you've spent the last 7 months of that time working from home. What's that been like for you as a challenge? And where are you based at the moment?
I'm based in Dublin at the moment. I've spent the last 8 months sitting at this desk. So if you'd have asked me back in March, April, whether I was enjoying working from home, I would have said yes. Fast forward 8 months, and I'm really excited to get back to the office and just make all of this madness go away. Yeah, I feel like I haven't left this desk, as I say, in ages.
Yeah, it's been a real challenge. I mean, I'm just desperate to get back to the office full time and get back to some kind of normality. To be honest, I miss having meetings in person with obviously partners like yourself, and obviously missing that agency culture, which I think is really important, and why I love being in the office. Um, so yeah, I mean, one of those key things around working so closely with you is obviously the fact that we are agency partners and we have partner status. I mean, what's it like working with an agency like Space and Time, and why is it important for brands to have an agency that has that understanding of the ecosystem and all the benefits that brings?
Yeah, so I started working with you guys about a year and a half ago. But since then, we've done a lot of good work, a lot of endless strategy client sessions, and I guess as a testament to this partnership, Space and Time are a premium partner as part of our Facebook Marketing Partners for Agencies program, which in essence unlocks a lot of really cool benefits in itself. I mean, why it's important why this is important. I mean, the platform is complex, right? So there are a number of different tools, objectives, and levers you can pull whenever you're setting up campaigns and ads. So those tools were developed initially to help clients overcome business challenges. So it's really important that you have an agency like yourself who's able to navigate that complex ecosystem and understand which levers to pull in order to get the best results.
Brilliant. Yeah, and it's a real privilege for us to have that status, and and as you mentioned, it brings so many extra benefits to us in terms of resource learning, training for our teams, and also access to betas for our clients. So no, it's a really great initiative that Facebook launched. Now, getting into some more of the current talking points around this year, one of the biggest was the fact that the announcement by Google and their decision to kill off the use of the third-party cookies in their Chrome browser within the next year. What implications does that present to the Facebook's advertising ecosystem? But more importantly, what does this mean for agencies and their clients? Is this the end of the tracking cookie as we know it? And if so, how can we as an industry, we rely so heavily on online behavioral data, how can we overcome this hurdle?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, we've been preparing for this for a while. I'm sure you heard about Apple's announcements regarding iOS 14 a couple of months ago, and then obviously Firefox did something similar previously. So, look, it will have an impact. Goes without saying. The Facebook advertisers rely on the Pixel. The Pixel, by its nature, drops a cookie, which not only helps advertisers track results, but it also feeds into the artificial intelligence algorithm that that Facebook uses in order to serve ads to the right users. I guess there's two short-term methods that we're encouraging advertisers to adopt today in order to safeguard themselves for the future. So it very much comes down to um, a media buying perspective and then also a product adoption perspective. So just to dwell into that for a second, from a media buying perspective, we're asking advertisers to rely a lot more on automation and machine learning. And there's actually 5 main levers on the platform that you can pull in order to sort of supercharge your performance and make the most out of this. And this is something that we've branded as the Power of 5. So this includes account simplification, advanced matching, dynamic ads, automatic placements, and campaign budget optimization. And those are the sort of 5 levers that will really give our system the most freedom to find the best users and, in essence, get the best results. From a product adoption perspective, we are encouraging advertisers to adopt what's called our Conversions API solution. So this is, in essence, where a client will share their data directly from their server back to Facebook. And what this means is that any data that's lost as part of browser changes can be mitigated by a client's own server data. So we're building out integrations with companies like Shopify, WooCommerce, Telium, and Immersies. But there will be much more integrations to come in the future as well.
What are the main advantages, do you think, of using the conversion API over the browser-based tracking?
Yeah, so I guess there's 3 USPs behind Conversions API. So number 1 is very much around discrete data control. So that means that advertisers can share what data they want and when they want to. There's it's more reliable. So Conversions API is not subject to browser crashes or connectivity issues. And then finally, and what I think is probably the most interesting, is this idea of full funnel visibility. And this is where a client can start to send back data that you might not be able to track via a browser. So in its most simplistic form, or an industry that could really bring this to life, is if we think about subscription brands. So when it comes to subscription, the most you can do is on a browser is, for example, start free trial, and that's sort of like the end browser goal. However, as a user starts their free trial, unless they actively cancel, they move into a recurring subscription. And in essence, what can happen now is that the advertiser can pass back not only the cancel subscription data, but recurring subscriptions and the value of that recurring subscription as well. And what that means is that this industry is now shifting from looking at using Facebook to just drive volume of, say, start free trials, to actually looking at Facebook to generate lifetime value as well. So in terms of other industries, if I could think about in the likes of e-commerce, so what cannot be tracked as part of a browser at the moment, it would be things like margin data. Or looking at an industry closer to home, which is very much property for yourself, Nick.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, the most you can really do on a browser is book a home viewing, right? But that's still very much the upper funnel piece. And a lot of property-based clients might track things via a call center and that entire journey, which in essence, they can start to pass back to Facebook for tracking, for optimization, for audience creation and whatnot as well.
Oh, fantastic. No, it sounds like a really great development, and we really look forward to start getting under the skin of that and introducing it to our clients. Staying on the theme of data and targeting, over the years, Facebook's always looked to innovate and improve on the targeting capabilities of its algorithm, to give agencies and brand partners the best product and performance possible. But there's been a real shift away from hyper-targeting and third-party data to one that is focused more on broad audience reach. Why is there now such a focus on a creative first approach and broad audience reach? And what opportunities does this present for our clients in terms of testing creative, creating efficiency in terms of performance and cost savings?
Yes. I mean, Facebook was very much its own success in a way that it was a platform that allowed you to micro-target, right? However, as time has moved on, Facebook nowadays works best when it has the freedom to find users and not micro-targeted approaches. So let's think about, if you may allow me to get technical for a second, let's think about what the conversions objective or the conversions optimization actually does. whenever you set up an ad, the conversion optimization will serve ads to users who it thinks are likely to convert. And this is based off the signals that each user is giving to our system. Whenever you set up an ad, you will go through a learning phase, which is what you understand via that feature in Ads Manager. And until up and around 50 conversions, the system is still learning who to serve the ads to.
Yeah.
After that time, the system has learned which signals to look for in users, and it will start to scale that out and look for people who it thinks are likely to resonate with the ad more so. So as a result of that, if we think about what that means for broad audiences, what that means is the broader the audience, the more freedom the system has to actually scale out and look for people with those signals who are likely to convert off your advertising. Sorry. But think about it from the perspective of when we're in a broad audience environment, you know, people buy things for different reasons, right? So it's important to sort of talk to people about your product according to you know, different motivators for why they would buy, or overcoming objections for why they wouldn't. So I'll give you a quick anecdote. It was June. It was Father's Day. It was a Friday. I was going for dinner with my dad on Sunday, and you know, I had to get something, but I was sort of like last minute, you know, and I was served an ad that said 70% off, and that meant nothing to me. If they'd have spoken to me about 24-hour shipping, then that might have meant something to me. So, you know, we all buy things for different reasons. So in a logical way, it's important to use your insight to create almost like a content ecosystem of messaging, to ensure that our system can match the best creative, the best message with the best user.
So in essence, really, you know, we're looking now to be able to test, copy split test at scale, and running multiple variations of image, text, to large audiences, and then we start to understand the different segments and audiences that I guess engage with that advert, whether it's a click through, a video view, whatever it might be. So that the learning definitely comes down through a sort of full funnel approach, as opposed to that kind of, as you mentioned, that micro targeting right from the start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a couple of ways to test your creative. I mean, we have the dynamic creative function, and this sort of is where the system auto generates messaging and imagery to sort of to serve the best combination of the user. We've got the split testing tool where you can have a clean A/B test of which message is resonating with the user, and then of course, yeah, we have our conversion methodology as well.
Brilliant. No, it sounds great. Fantastic. Thank you. So, moving on to the next question. Obviously, there's been some great developments in the world of e-commerce and online shopping experiences. I mean, how do you see the future of online shopping experiences for the consumer going into 2021 and beyond? What do you think the ecosystem will look like to the everyday consumer? And do you think brand websites will still be an important part of the online shopping experience?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it goes without saying, I'm sure you've heard this before, but 2020 has seen an acceleration in brands moving to digital. Facebook developed a solution earlier in the year, which was released in the UK in September, called Facebook and Instagram Shops. And this is effectively a microsite where you can makes it easier for you to bring your business online, you know. So we're in very early stages of this. At the moment, when you set up a shop, you can change the products, the imagery, the accent colors, things like that. But it's very much the start of a longer journey. And there's the product roadmap for shops looks amazing. So in terms of integrating ad units that will drive to your shops, you can scale this, integrating Instagram live shopping, which would be really cool for influencers. And then, of course, Instagram checkout, which is in beta still in the States at the moment, in the US at the moment, but is a logical next step once that comes to EMEA. So that's from a Facebook perspective, what they're doing, and what we envisage is that a lot more businesses will utilize the shops function. I guess from an industry-wide perspective, you know, this year has been a massive change in terms of consumer behavior. What might stick, you know, there might be less sampling, less strolling the mall. And, you know, what we're saying is that 2021 will be the year of discovery commerce. And discovery commerce is a feature that's powered by machine learning, which is in essence using the system of tools that Facebook has, where Facebook anticipates the customer needs and matches them to products, right? So In essence, it's a serendipitous shopping experience. And we have a solution for that at the moment called dynamic ads for broad audiences, which in essence does exactly that. It matches people with products.
Wow, no, it sounds really cool. I mean, do you think these behaviours will stick with people, with audiences, or do you think people will revert back to their old shopping habits post the pandemic?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've heard a lot of theories about this. And I feel like a couple of the theories I'm leaning on the most are that you know there has been a large shift, but retail isn't going anywhere. So what you might see is more of emergence between the offline and the online. So this could be an increase in buy online, pick up in store solutions, for example. I think there was a fast food app that's where you can order on the app and then pick up in store. Um, I guess the other theory I kind of liked was that in-store may become more transactional, whereas e-commerce may become more experimental, which in a way gives rise to ad units like augmented reality ads. And then I've heard other theories. So this idea of glocal, for example, whereby it looks at the future of the city center, for example, and tries to understand whether people will utilize this more or they will be more reliant on their neighborhoods and local shops within their immediate vicinity.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I think anecdotally as well, I read a lot about the change in audience behaviour going forward, and I think for retail, for the high street to survive, I think there has to become more of an experiential in terms of in terms of shopping, and how people use and interact with in-store retail units. If bricks and mortars to stay relevant, I think definitely there's got to be a shift and change in the way they present and the experiences that people have when they go in store. But no, it's interesting times for sure, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. You'll be pleased to know. Final question: what do you see as being the biggest or the most important consideration for brands in 2021? Obviously, it's been a challenging year for Facebook, what with the ad boycotts and all. But what can Facebook and Adland in general learn from the pandemic to promote better and more ethical ad practices?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I would answer this in the sense of looking at more established brands and then also looking at challenger brands. So, for more established brands, as I said before, this idea of discovery commerce for acquiring new customers. But personally, I think there may be more of a shift in businesses looking at their retention strategy, their loyalty programs and whatnot. So, what I think is that price only goes so far, but other perks will be introduced, such as faster services or exclusive access. And this lends itself quite well to products like Messenger, which enables that two-way dialogue between a consumer and a business. For a challenger brand, though, I fundamentally believe that trust will be the main factor that these brands need to lean on in order to survive. Because look, the competition is just so great at the moment as more businesses move online. Again, a quick anecdote: it was March, April time. I ordered a home desk from a brand I'd never heard of. I ordered it online. They told me it would be delivered in 2 weeks. It came in 12 weeks, and
Right.
yeah, and I'm not going to order from them again. So a challenger brand needs to look at the quality of their product. Does it match up to what they're advertising? Are they fulfilling supply? Is the shipping coming on time? The general advice is to over communicate, right? So keep your consumers along that journey with you, and just over communicate what's happening. That lends itself quite well again to products like Messenger, but also I think email marketing has a large role to play there.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Well, thank you. That actually is the conclusion of our questions. Thank you so much for your time today, Gareth. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on board for our very first partner interview. Really enjoyed talking to you and catching up. And looking forward to seeing what happens in 2021 and whether any of our predictions and insights come true. I'm sure they will. But it'd be great to pick up the conversation again next year with you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Nick.